You want to talk about this shakeup with the PlayStation Network requirement on PC?
All right. So Sony put out a uh, a new blog post on the PlayStation blog, and they are here's what they've done so far: Marvel Spider-Man 2, Horizon Zero Dawn remastered, The Last of Us Part 2 remastered, and God of War Ragnarok are going to offer in-game content unlocks for users playing with a PSN network account. Now, you might say, well, what's the big deal? You know, you've already got to log into the PlayStation Network anyway to play these games. Not anymore. Sony is now making PSN accounts optional for these games, and also in the blog post they made today, they said that for certain future games, having a PSN account will be optional. Not for everyone, but for some, they will be optional. And also, in case you're interested, here are the unlocks you get for having a PSN account. For Spider-Man 2, you get early unlock suits of the Spider-Man 2099 black suit and the Miles Morales 2099 suits. For God of War Ragnarok, you gain access to the Armor of the Black Bear set for Kratos at the first Lost Items chest in the Realm Between Realms. And this previously was only accessible in a New Game Plus run, and a resource bundle, 500 hack silver and 250 XP. For Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, you get 50 points to activate bonus features and unlock extras, and you get Jordan's jacket from Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, as the skin for Ellie. And then for Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, you gain access to Nora Valiant's outfits. So that's pretty much everything that they've mentioned here today. I've got quite a few things to say about this, but what are your thoughts regarding this?
Well, it's funny. When you first sent me the article earlier today, I thought that it was just saying that, oh, you can get these bonuses for using your PlayStation Network account. I'm like, okay, sure, whatever. I don't really care that much. I mean, like I have God of War Ragnarok. I'm not buying the remaster of Horizon Zero Dawn. And I'm definitely not buying Spider-Man 2 or The Last of Us Part 2. And the God of War thing is like, okay, that's cool. I don't care, though. But then I saw the fact that they were removing PSN requirement for God of War Ragnarok and future games. Especially, I find this especially odd after they had just added the requirement for PSN on Horizon Forbidden West 10 months after the game came out. I'm wondering if that means that they're not actually doing that. That's not entirely clear to me. I'm also wondering what this is going to mean in terms of the games going back to those regions that couldn't buy it before. I mean, does this mean they're going to suddenly make it available again in all these other regions? Which would be great, because then more people can buy the game. And, hopefully this is what they're going to do going forward. They're going to go back to not requiring PSN. Because it's like, I don't have a problem with them saying it's an option, and you get these benefits. You get trophy support. You get, these in-game bonuses. Like, that's great. But then it's still optional. And I'll use it because, at least on the PlayStation titles that I buy, because I already have a PlayStation account. It's not a big deal for me. And I think it's kind of cool being able to earn trophies at the same time that I'm earning achievements. Just because. But that being said, I think it is amazing that they are actually removing this. I don't have a whole lot of faith that they're going to go the full extent of where they could go and actually relist it in all those countries that they delisted the games, or the countries that just couldn't buy it before because they were in those countries, like God of War Ragnarok, list it for the first time in those countries. I really hope that this is a full sign of what's coming in the future. We'll talk some more about the leadership changes here in a bit. That to me are a signal that there's going to be some really big changes with how PlayStation is doing things with PC and potentially even Xbox and Nintendo in the future. But like I said, we'll get to that a little bit later. Otherwise, like if they are legitimately going to make that requirement go away altogether and start listing these games in countries where they couldn't be purchased before or where they were removed, like in Hell with Helldivers, then I will give them applause. I mean, it's late; they should have just done it in the first place, but I still think it's a good idea to praise a company when they do something good, and because then they at least know, hey, this is something we appreciate, and hopefully that would help them to be able to get more sales out of these games whose sales have suffered dramatically because of the PSN requirement, like God of War Ragnarok. Because in my opinion, it's a great game and well worth playing. I understand people's arguments against it. Most of them being that people just don't like the direction of the gameplay compared with the original game, so that's all well and good. But beyond that, there's plenty of people who would still enjoy these games, enjoy 2018 and want to play Ragnarok, but in some cases they couldn't do it because they were in countries where it was not available for purchase because of the PSN requirement, even though PSN isn't actually required for it at all. Because you can play it on the Steam Deck. And you can say no when they first bring up the thing. But anyway, yeah, I think that's all my thoughts on that.
Okay, yeah. I definitely agree. This is something that should have been optional from the very beginning. Like, if you want to have people use PlayStation Network and make accounts, fine. But don't have that be a requirement just to play the game. Um, Especially since, as you said, there are countries where you can't even do that in the first place. You can't even make a PSN account, and you want them to do it now, and it was ridiculous. I don't know why they thought it was a good idea, and I think it's even worse considering the fact that if people are buying your games, what difference does it make if they have a PSN account or not? Like, you're shooting yourself in the foot because you're saying, well, you have to have a PSN account. Okay, you're limiting the countries that where you could sell your game in the first place, and then on top of it, in the countries where you can sell it, people will just say, I don't feel like making a PSN account, so I won't buy the game. Like, that's you are severely crippling yourself. And I think part of the reason why they removed the requirement is because they don't have as much confidence of certain games selling as well. Like, for example, I don't know how confident they feel about Last of Us Part 2. I mean, they felt confident enough to sell it on PC, but I guess in light of what happens with Lego Horizon, they were thought, well, maybe we should. I mean, granted, I don't think that game didn't even have PSN requirements, but they thought, well, maybe to help boost sales, maybe we should actually lighten up on our requirements or Santa's requirements. So they said, yeah, we'll remove the requirement for Last of Us Part 2 because they probably wouldn't have been doing so great anyway. But just to make sure we can get more money out of it, let's remove the requirement. So yeah, I definitely can see that being as the reason why. But additionally, um, you know, I don't see a problem with having this sort of, in this, I guess you could say, service. But again, have a good reason as to why. I mean, like you said, the the trophies. I think that's something that a lot of people really like, and it's probably one of the core reasons why someone would want to have a PSN account. So I would even say that's probably more so than just like a lot of the unlocked stuff, because you could probably still get most of these. I mean, based on what it seems here on the list, like with the exception of maybe The Last of Us Part 2, because I think it looks like the jacket is something you can't get through normal gameplay. So that being exclusive to it, that gives more incentive, because everything else essentially, and then also Horizon Zero Dawn, that outfit, that's like an early unlock. Everything else, it seems like you could just unlock by playing the game, which, if you're gonna play the game, you'll probably get there anyway and get the unlocks. But yeah, having these be exclusive, I don't necessarily have a problem with that, because again, it's an actual benefit you're getting, and not something you would normally just get anyway, through playing the game. So I don't have a problem with that. One thing that as a result of this, I'm hoping undoes a fear I had is that this would allow games to start coming back on GOG, because when Sony started saying we're going to make this a mandatory requirement for every game, I thought, well, I guess that's the end of games going over to GOG because of the fact that GOG, that sort of thing doesn't fly there. But and so I think the last game that got ported over was it Spider-Man? It was either Spider-Man or it was God of War. I can't remember which one it was, but it was one of those two. And and I was like, all right, cool. Another game's to me. Yeah, Spider-Man was ported over. No, wait, was it? No, it wasn't ported over. I haven't bought Spider-Man.
I know Horizon, Days Gone, and God of War are over there. That is the first Horizon game. I don't know if any of the other ones are.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh no, never mind. I thought it wasn't that Spider-Man has come over. That's what I thought it could be a next game. But but I thought, well, I guess we're not getting any more games brought over there because I would like to see more. I mean, like, I bought each and every game that Sony ported over to GOG because I was like, I want to support this practice. By being able to buy these games completely DRM free, even if I don't ever play them. Like, I didn't have any interest in the Uncharted Lost Legacy collection, but I bought it anyway because I said, hey, I want more of these games to get ported over, or not ported over, but brought over to GOG. Just so I can buy it, have a completely DRM free copy. That's great. And I did it with all the other games that they brought over. And even though I had Horizon, I bought it again. So I want to continue doing that. But when they said they're mandatory, I thought, well, I guess that's the end of things. Even if there are games where they weren't mandatory, like Spider-Man or like a couple of other titles. But since they're backtracking on this, maybe that's something that comes back in the future where, maybe later this year or next year, we have the next title ported over, or again, not ported, but brought over to GOG. So I'm happy about this change coming. I'm hoping that, more games are going to drop that requirement and that it's more like, as you said, only an option for every game going forward, because that's the way it should have been in the beginning. And you can have that. You can have those incentives. You can have those exclusive unlocks for the PSN account, but just don't limit people from playing the game, period, just because of that. And like you said, hopefully for people who weren't able to play these games because of living in countries where they can't make PSN accounts, hopefully this opens up those games for them. But that is everything that I have to say on the matter.
Yeah, one thing that I thought was funny that I thought about is I don't know if this Unlock for The Last of Us Part 2 Remastered is something that's on PlayStation.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it might be, but it would actually be rather funny to me if the, being able to get the coat of a character from Naughty Dog's new game is exclusive to the PC. I mean, what? I can't imagine they would actually do that, but it would be really funny. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any interest in really either game, but especially not The Last of Us Part 2. So, to me, it makes no difference whatsoever, but yeah. And I thought about that too with GOG, them bringing more of their games over, and definitely hoping they do that. Yeah, because I could see some of those games that I would definitely like to grab there. I mean, in general, I haven't really found before they started requiring PSN, the only DRM they really had was just specifically Steam's DRM, and that didn't bother me too much. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I looked at their other games. I definitely want to play Returnal one of these days because I think that game looks great. I always thought that from the first time I saw it. But that's one where it's like it hasn't gotten cheap enough. Like I think the best it's gotten down to is like $35 or $36, and it's just I don't really want to spend that much on it. I don't want to play it that badly. I'd rather just wait. see if it drops more in price, because it probably will eventually. And like Days Gone is one that I was never really that interested in, but for like $10, $11, that might be worth grabbing. I wouldn't mind trying it. I've heard a lot of people like it. I got tired of the zombie stuff, and even though they're technically not zombies, they're zombies. I mean, you can call them a different name, but they're still zombies. I want PlayStation to bring over more of their PS4 games, because right now as it stands, when it comes to first party PS5 games, the only ones we don't have are Demon Souls and might only be Demon Souls. I feel like there's something else I'm forgetting about. But for the first party games, I think Demon Souls is the only one that we don't have that we don't already know is coming. Technically we know Demon Souls is coming, we just have no idea when. But like I want them to bring the Infamous games over. I want them to bring the Uncharted trilogy over. Because like I bought the Uncharted Lost Legacy collection, or I don't think it was called Lost Legacy. I think Lost Legacy is the second game. But anyway, the follow-up to Uncharted 4 / like the side independent game. I might be remembering wrong, but anyway, the point is that like I'm very much interested. Like I would love to replay Uncharted 4, and I haven't ever played Lost Legacy, and I want to play them, but I want to finish replaying the other games before I jump into 4, and I just haven't gotten around to it because I have to connect my PS4 and then play them that way, and I just haven't been that motivated. I'd much rather just have them on PC and then just play them all that way. Play them on my Steam Deck, and it'll be good. Something I do want to note real quick. They hadn't released the required specs for Spider-Man 2 even as of today. I did check, and they finally put them up, and they're actually really reasonable, which is good. I mean, for people who want to play it. Obviously, I'm not interested in playing it, but the requirements are actually really very reasonable at least for the minimum and the recommended specs. It's like recommended is a 3060, and 16 gigs of RAM, stuff like that. But obviously, in my case, I just don't want to play it because I hate what they did with the story. And that's a shame because I've heard the gameplay is great. Well, other than the Mary Jane sections, which are absolute garbage. But at least they made Miles fantastic in these games. But nevertheless, I will not support the game because I absolutely hate what they did with the story. So, that's all I have to say on that.